You're watching a football match. You see 22 players running around, someone hoofing the ball into row Z, a goalkeeper having an existential crisis, and you think to yourself, yeah, I get it. I understand football. And then there's this guy sitting 3 rows behind you, watching the exact same match, writing down 17 pages of notes about the left back who didn't touch the ball once. So, what on earth does he know that you don't? Turns out, a lot. Welcome to the 9 strangest things football scouts can see that the rest of us completely miss. I'm going to ruin watching football for you forever. You're welcome. 1. What a player does without the ball. Here's a fun little fact. In a 90-minute football match, the average outfield player has the ball for about 2 minutes. 2. Which means a scout watching a striker is spending 88 minutes watching a guy not touch the ball. And apparently, that's the interesting part. Scouts are obsessed with what players do in their off-the-ball movement. Are they constantly checking over their shoulder to see where defenders are? Are they making runs to drag defenders away, even when they know they won't get the pass? Are they staying sharp and alert? Or are they basically on a leisurely Sunday stroll? You and I watch a striker and think, he didn't score, bad game. A scout watches the same striker and thinks, he made 14 intelligent runs, occupied 2 center backs, and created space for the midfield 3 times in the first half alone. It's basically like watching a completely different sport. A very boring, very technical, very scouty sport to the first touch direction. Okay, you've heard of good first touch. Everyone talks about first touch, but do you know what scouts are actually looking at? It's not just whether the player controls the ball, it's where they take it. Elite players use their first touch to move the ball into a space that sets up their next action, not just kill it dead at their feet. If a midfielder receives a pass and takes a touch sideways, away from pressure, toward open space, that's a sign of serious football intelligence. They've already read the game before the ball arrived. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just happy if the ball doesn't bounce off our shin and go out for a throw-in. Scouts call this touch direction. And once you know it exists, you will never stop noticing it. In professional matches, in Sunday League, in your nephew's U10 tournament, you'll be that person at the touchline going, his touch direction was poor in the final third, and everyone around you will slowly move away. 3. The scanning habit. Pop quiz. What's the most important thing a footballer can do before receiving a pass? If you said control it, nope. If you said pass it quickly, still nope. It's scanning, looking around, literally just turning your head. I know, revolutionary stuff. But here's why it matters. A player who scans before receiving the ball already knows where his teammates are, where the pressure is coming from, and what his options are. So when the ball arrives, he doesn't need to think. A player who doesn't scan, he receives the ball, looks up, sees a defender in his face, panics, and hooves it into the stands. Scouts literally count how many times a player scans per minute. There are actual studies on this. Xavi and Busquets were famous for scanning something like 0.8 times per second in some matches. Meanwhile, I scan my fridge about that often, and I still can't find the cheese. 4. What they do after losing the ball. You know what most fans notice when a player loses the ball? The groan from the crowd. You know what scouts notice? What happens in the next 3 seconds? Does the player immediately press to win it back? Or do they put their hands on their hips and look at the sky like they're asking God for answers? Do they sprint back into a defensive shape? Or stand there doing the I was clearly fouled mime to no one in particular? This is called the transition moment, and it tells scouts everything about a player's mentality, work rate, and tactical discipline. Some of the most valuable players in the world aren't the most skilled. They're the ones who respond to losing the ball like it physically offended them personally. Honestly, a bit unhinged, but very scoutable. 5. Body shape when receiving. This one sounds incredibly simple, and yet it separates good players from elite ones faster than almost anything else. Its body shape. Specifically, are you open or are you closed? An open body shape means when you receive the ball, your body is angled so you can see as much of the pitch as possible. You're like a satellite dish pointed at the entire game. A closed body shape means you receive it facing backward, back to goal, only able to see one direction. You're like someone who walked into a room and forgot why they came in. Top midfielders have open body shapes almost automatically. It's hardwired into their movement. Scouts look for this specifically because it shows a player is always preparing to play forward, to progress the ball to be a threat. And the wild part, most fans, most coaches, never consciously notice it. Scouts notice. They always notice. 6. The personality under pressure. Okay, let's take a little detour from the technical stuff. Because scouts aren't just watching football, they're watching people. And one of the biggest things they're looking for is, how does this player behave when things go wrong? Does he yell at teammates? Does he sulk? Does he argue with the referee for 3 minutes after every foul like he's presenting a legal case? Or does he shake it off, communicate positively, and keep his head in the game? Here's the dirty secret. Loads of technically brilliant players never make it to the top because they fall apart mentally, and loads of scouts have been burned by ignoring red flags in a player's personality because his highlight reel was too good. This is why scouts will watch a player across multiple matches in bad weather when his team is losing 3-0, when he's having a nightmare of a game. That's when you see who someone really is. Also known as the character test, which sounds very dramatic for watching a bloke play football on a Tuesday night in the rain. Here we are. So there you have it. Scouts are seeing that you completely missed and will now be unable to stop seeing for the rest of your life. You're never just watching a game again. You're watching touch direction. You're watching scanning frequency. You're watching a bloke get substituted and studying his emotional response like it's a documentary. I've genuinely ruined football for you, and I feel great about it. And if you're a scout watching this, hi, please take the camera off me. I'm not ready. See you in the next one.